In today's video, I want to talk about the one thing that everyone wishes to experience, which is what healthy love is supposed to look like. Welcome back to Evolving with Amy, a place for growth, self-discovery, and becoming the best version of yourself. Before I get into the video, as you guys can tell, I am still trying to figure out where I'm going to be filming from now on and what my background is going to look like. This right now is my living room, and though I don't intend for this to be a long-term place where I'm going to be recording these videos, I didn't really like the last video. It just seemed too bland. There was nothing going on. I was like, you know what? My TV is not up right now, but I can definitely at least have some flowers in the background, have somewhere to sit the flowers on, a candle. I don't know, like I like the vibes, and the bland canvas was not it for me. So I was just not fully inspired today, especially because we're going to talk about love, which is my favorite topic of all, and relationships. I feel the need to, first of all, show you guys the flowers that I got myself earlier this week and just how beautiful they're blooming. Not just that, but also to talk about love, and not the love that we see in the movies, not the chase, not the chaos, not the kind that keeps you up at night wondering where you stand with the person. Ugh, that actually gives me the ick right now, because just to imagine myself wondering where I stand with someone, I'd rather be alone. I'd rather not deal with that individual, because if I ever have to question where I stand, I am not in the right place. I want to talk about the kind of love that brings you home to yourself, the kind that adds to your peace and not disrupts it. Because again, if you've ever found yourself confusing intensity for intimacy, or thinking that love is supposed to hurt, this video is gonna be for you. Now, I'm gonna break this video down in a couple of sections, so just bear with me. I'm gonna try to get as juicy as I possibly can, while also helping you and leading you to what healthy love is supposed to feel like. Point number one is that love is clarity, not confusion. If something is always unclear, it's probably not love. It's inconsistency. And that's not the same thing. A lot of us are so used to the inconsistency in our lives that when someone comes and adds to that inconsistency while also adding the physical part of things, we think that that's what love is supposed to feel like. But real love communicates. It doesn't play games with you. It doesn't play games with your heart. And not just does it guard their heart, but it also guards yours. If there's one thing that I've learned, is that if someone wants you in their life, you're gonna know. You won't have to be analyzing every word that they say or that they write, or reread messages hoping to decode something that maybe didn't seem clear in the beginning. Healthy love makes you feel chosen without begging for it. So let's not confuse the pick-me person for feeling chosen, because that is exactly what everybody wants, and it's okay. But there's a difference in behavior. The pick-me person is out there begging for attention, begging for love, begging for them to be taken care of. And the person that has been chosen is that person that sits so confidently where they stand that they don't have to be begging to be chosen or to be picked. You don't have to be left on red for 3 days and then someone all of a sudden telling you like, hey, sorry, I've just been busy. Busy can mean a lot of things here. Even if you are the type of person that plans everything, you don't always have to be the one to initiate conversation. Every plan, every apology, every conversation, unfortunately, we've gotten into this point, especially with social media and these coaches that have led even women to believe that men have to do everything first. I don't personally believe in that. I do believe in reciprocity. And yes, I believe that the male is typically the one to pursue the female. However, there is no chasing, because when both people want to be a part of a relationship, neither of you need to chase each other. And here's the thing, clarity is not too much to ask for. It's literally the bare minimum. And until you raise that standard to that being the bare minimum, people are going to continue to be unclear with you, because you're also unclear with yourself and with what you want. Point number two is that healthy love is emotionally safe. Love is supposed to be a soft place to land on, not you walking on eggshells around a person. And something that a lot of people don't understand is that emotional safety means that you can bring your whole self, flaws and all, to the table. You don't need to pretend to be someone that you're not. You don't need to lie so that somebody else can like you. All you need to do is be yourself. And in a table where someone does not allow you space to make mistakes, then that's not a table that you want to sit in, because you're never going to be perfect. No one's ever going to be perfect. In the beginning of a relationship, typically called the honeymoon stage, is when people are pretending for the most part to be someone that they're not. And what happens 3 months down the line is that the mask and the facade falls off, because you can't keep up with the image that you sold to the other individual. And now that you lied for this amount of time, you leave the person wondering on whether or not you're ever going to be your true self. And here's the thing, until you accept your flawed self, you won't give anybody else the opportunity to accept you. You're allowed to feel, to ask, to express, even to be upset, without being made to feel wrong or dramatic. Yes, you may have felt something intensely, and because of that, it meant that much more to you than maybe the other person. But that's why communication is important, and having emotional safety in a relationship is also important, to be able to have that open dialogue with them. When you feel emotionally safe in a relationship, you're not afraid that bringing up something that bothered you will cause a punishment, withdrawal, or manipulation from the other person. This looks like someone not calling you crazy just because you're expressing your hurt. Also, not twisting your concerns into character flaws. If you're out dating or already in a relationship where you're not able to fully be yourself, that shouldn't be a table where you want to sit in. Point number 3, compatibility is a lot more important than chemistry, because the butterflies fade, but the foundation stays. And yes, chemistry is very important, especially once you get to the point where you're going to be intimate with the person. Most of us human beings lead first by what we see. We are attracted to that first. Hence why we have preferences and we find different people attractive. Everyone has different taste. But you can have chemistry for someone that's completely wrong for you. Compatibility means that you share the same values. You have aligned communication. You have mutual respect for each other and emotional maturity. Ding, 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 ding. It's not just about who's making your heart race. Remember, we talked about that in one of the last episodes where I was like, you don't want to feel the butterflies. If you're feeling butterflies, your body is going into protect mode. It is trying to survive, and your nervous system is definitely telling you this is not the place you want to be. And the contrary is about who helps your nervous system to calm down. Have you ever been with someone where you're trying to have an honest conversation and their first reaction is to avoid the discomfort? Like someone who avoidantly attaches? If you don't know about the attachment styles, I invite you guys to take a quiz where you can learn where you stand. Whether you're securely attached, anxiously attached, avoidant, or fearful avoidant, which is also called disorganized. It's really important for you to know where you stand so that you also know yourself and you know how you're going to react depending on the situation that you're faced with. If you want deep connection, but what they're looking for is convenience, that's not going to be a match. Stop chasing the intensity with someone, but start choosing intention. Point number 4, healthy love doesn't ask you to shrink yourself. You were made to be seen. You weren't made to be palatable. What does that mean? Not everyone's gonna like you, and that's okay. If you constantly feel the need to tone it down to keep the peace, that's not love. You're performing. You should never have to make yourself feel small to make someone else feel comfortable. Can you imagine having huge news to share with your partner that make you so happy and so proud of yourself, but you hesitate because they're gonna get weird about it or they're gonna feel like you're competing with them? That's definitely not the relationship you wanna be in. Or minimizing your voice, your goals, or even light, simply because they treat your confidence as arrogance. Baby, I know who I am on this side of town, do you? Because if you don't, we aren't going to be a good match. When someone tries to dim your light, that's insecurity in disguise from their part. That's not partnership. And you have to be able to discern that that person may even be trying to compete with you. You don't ever want a partner who's competing with you. You have to understand that you guys are a team. And if neither of you see each other as a team, but rather someone that you're competing against, then you're in the wrong relationship. Then you're looking for the wrong things. Then you don't know where you are. And there needs to be some reflection before you continue to date this person. Point number 5, you are not their healer. Please remember that. You are not their therapist. You are not their healer, and you're not responsible for somebody else's healing. Support is beautiful, but you cannot love someone into their potential. You cannot want more for someone than they want for themselves. You have to remember that you're not a rehab center. If that's what they're looking for, they need to go seek professional help. Healing has to be a choice. They have to want to grow. You cannot make them want to grow. Sometimes somebody growing means taking space from even you to be able to figure out who they are. And that's okay. You don't ever want to be in a relationship or go into a relationship where you have to manipulate or where you're being manipulated because you're threatening them to leave if they don't improve or if they don't grow. That's not growth. You are literally manipulating someone else to do what you want them to do, not what they want to do. And yeah, if you're constantly feeling more like a therapist than a partner, something's off. That light should be going off and you should be telling yourself, this is not where I want to be. Point number 6, the same way that we pay attention to red flags, we should also be paying attention and praising the green flags. We need to stop being experts on toxicity and start learning what's healthy too. Everybody's so quick to call out a red flag. Ooh, red flag. Ooh, red flag. Ooh, he gave me the ick. Ooh, she gave me the ick. But what are the green flags that you're looking for? What you focus on grows. What you focus on, you attract. If you're focusing on the red flags, you're going to continue to attract people that come with all the red flags. Green flags can look like taking accountability without being defensive. If you're trying to have a conversation with someone and they actually accept their wrongdoing instead of right away being reactive and defensive about what you're talking about and then throwing it to you and what you did and how their reaction was based on your behavior, that's a green flag. Accountability, accountability, accountability. You'll hear me say that very, very often in all of my content. Someone who cares how their actions affect you, that's a green flag right there. Consideration? Whew. Ooh, you want me there. Accountability and consideration? 1. Now, their initiative or ability to be able to repair what happened and not just damage control, but really sitting there with themselves, with you, trying to figure things out, that's a green flag. Someone who's reliable, emotionally, logistically, and in every way, someone that tells you I'm going to be there and is there, someone that you can trust, those are all green flags. Ask yourself this question. Do I even know what healthy love feels like? Or have I only known survival? It's okay if you haven't. A lot of us have not experienced what healthy love is supposed to feel like because we have been in survival mode for so long. Because the only examples that we have had are those of our parents and our grandparents and maybe those toxic couples around us, and also social media. Unfortunately, a lot of things are painted pretty on social media and aren't really going the way you think they are. And here you are wishing upon a star that your relationship was just like this one, or that your partner was just like the person you see on the screen. And little do you know that they are just acting a fool in real life. Don't ever think the grass is greener somewhere else. The grass is greener where you water it. And there's also no shame if you haven't experienced the healthy love that you wish to experience. It takes a lot of self-work and a lot of accountability to withdraw from the dating scene and say, I want to work on myself, to get to know me, to get to know what my boundaries are, to get to know what I want my life to look like, to get to know what I like, not based on anybody else, to get to know what I want to do right now and for my future, and to get to know where my standards are. Because when I tell you that the standards are way too low and y'all are accepting breadcrumbs, as long as you're not by yourself, you need to check yourself. Point number 7 is that boundaries build connection. Boundaries aren't a threat. They are the blueprint for sustainable love. You're always gonna hear me talk about boundaries because they are so important, especially if you are seeking to love yourself and respect you. No one will ever love you or respect you more than you do that for yourself. Because when you love and respect you, you won't allow, parentheses, boundaries, to go over a certain line. In healthy relationships, boundaries aren't seen as rejection. They're respected without resistance because your partner knows and understands that there are limits they cannot cross. You're not punished because you're saying no. You're not punished because you don't like something. You're not punished because there's a line you don't cross, or else I'm going to leave. And it's not a threat. It's a boundary that I have to respect for myself. Because if you do that, if you cheat on me, I'm dipping out. You have to know what your boundaries are. Those boundaries may not be for everyone, and that's okay. Everyone has different boundaries. And since we're talking about cheating, I'm not saying that you should leave your person if something tragical like that were to happen. I don't know your situation. I don't know where you stand. I don't know your life. You have to be able to decide that for yourself. And every situation and every partnership and every relationship is different. You get to decide what your boundaries are and what you want to stand on. It doesn't matter what somebody else thinks about your relationship. It matters how you feel in that relationship. And it's not for the world to be like, wow, that's an amazing couple. They've been through so much, and they continue hard on 40 years on. Are you happy? Because if you're unhappy, it's not even worth it. The 40 years that you're with someone, the 30 years, the 20 years, the 10 years, the 7 years, the 2 years, the 1 year, it is not worth it if you're not happy. If you've been able to forgive something that big and you guys have been able to move past it and you've truly forgiven it to the point where you're not bringing it back anymore, and you've gone to therapy and you've done whatever is necessary for you to really get over it, that's okay. Nobody can shame you for that. You get to decide what you accept in your life, and it doesn't make you any less. It doesn't devalue who you are. You just have to know that that's what you're okay with. Again, everybody's standards are very different, and it doesn't make me better or you better than anybody else. I've known of people that have said in the past, if they cheat, I'll leave. And baby, they're still there. And that's okay. Maybe their situation changed from where they first were to where they are now. Boundaries building connection also looks like telling your person, hey, I need space to recharge. And being able to feel safe in saying that to your partner without them guilt tripping you. Like, oh, you don't want to spend time with me. Oh, like you're going to go somewhere else and do A, B, C, or D. Stop guilt tripping your person. Being able to tell someone the tone that you're using is hurting me, and it not starting a fight, but instead starting a conversation. Woo! Green flag right there. Point number 8, conflict isn't a problem. Avoidance is. When you guys learn what your attachment style is, you're gonna learn more about avoidance. Someone who's normally avoidant actually pulls back when things start to get intense. This can be a good thing or a bad thing depending on what is happening. Because if you have an avoidant and if you have an anxious attached, this thing right here, you both need to understand that you are both triggering each other. You're both in chaos, but you're experiencing it in a different way. Now, in a relationship, the goal is not to never fight. There's gonna be disagreements. There's gonna be fights at some point, but it's to fight fair. It's to know that even through the fight, even through the disagreement, we're gonna know how to repair this. We're gonna know how to move past this. Conflict in a relationship should be able to bring clarity and not trauma. We should be able to discuss something and move forward. Insecure love uses silence as power. That silent treatment that you've given before or that you're currently giving to your partner or to other people, you're trying to use that as power so that they can come crawling back to you. Secure love doesn't need that. Secure love uses conversation to reconnect with that person and to try to understand the problem at hand. This looks like you telling your partner, hey, you hurt me. And instead of being met with gaslighting, you're met with understanding. Instead of somebody telling you whatever, do whatever you want, your partner tells you, let's figure this out together. Can you imagine that? Have you experienced that? And if you haven't, that's okay. But really look at where you are in your life and what you want. If you rather be with the person that's telling you whatever, do what you want to do, are we 13 still? Okay. Because if that's the type of love you're looking for, that's okay with me. I'm not looking for that. We gotta go our own ways. You gotta go and be okay with that behavior from someone else, or with what you're looking for. And I gotta keep my standards where they're at or higher and keep it pushing. Number 9, and it's something I've talked about very, very often here because currently it represents me, is that being single is not a failure. Many times we rush connection just to avoid feeling lonely. But can I share with you and remind you how peaceful it is here? It is so peaceful to be in the comfort of my own home, not worried about a text back, not worried about where someone is, not worried about whether or not this person actually wants a future with me. And of course, it's normal to yearn and it's normal to want that partnership. But when you know where your standards are and when you know what you're not willing to accept anymore, there comes a lot of peace with that. Because you understand that you're not willing to put yourself on sale for somebody else that doesn't even want to work on themselves. You've done all this work for you and you're going to allow somebody to come and breadcrumb you just because you want some attention right now. You can literally just get dolled up and go outside and you'll get the attention you're looking for. Just saying. But it all comes from how you feel inside. If you feel worthy, if you feel self-deserving, you're not going to feel lonely. Don't confuse love with attachment. Being single gives you the space to choose better and not to settle faster. Because now you're seeing things from a very clear perspective. There's no feelings involved. There's no touching with anyone. You know exactly what you want. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but now you can recognize the green from the red flags. And it feels a lot safer here. Because when you learn to trust yourself, you know that you're going to choose the best thing for you and your future. And if you are out there dating right now, stop saying yes to those people that keep being inconsistent. Just so that you can go on a date, just so that you can get a free meal. That is your time, and your time is valuable. Your presence, being with someone, being seen with someone, that means something. You are literally giving your presence away to this person, and you should feel really good about that. It shouldn't feel like you're giving yourself up. Even if you feel chemistry with someone, but they're inconsistent or they're not looking for the same things you are, don't waste your time. See it for what it is and let it go. I promise you, the moment you make space for what you really want, even if it takes a little bit longer to get there, it will get there. Stop entertaining people that trigger your anxiety. Just to avoid the silence. The silence is so peaceful. Once you learn to sit with it, once you've worked through your traumas, this is gonna be what you want the most. Point number 10 and the last one, you attract what you believe you deserve. The most powerful shift happens when you say, I am no longer available for the bare minimum. Your reality starts to change when you raise your standard. Healing your self-worth is going to rewrite your love life. You need to stop romanticizing the struggle. You need to start being turned off by the inconsistent behavior instead of being intrigued by it. Because I promise you that you're going to start to rather be alone than to be misused. If you continue to give people a chance who continue to be unclear about their intentions with you, you are literally telling the universe that that is what you're okay with. And so you're going to continue to attract the same type of people. And here's the thing, if no one has ever shown you what healthy love is supposed to look like, it makes sense that you've struggled to recognize it. But just because you haven't seen it modeled does not mean that you cannot choose it. So if you didn't get anything else from this video but this, I hope you know that this is your sign to stop normalizing pain and start normalizing peace. You're not asking for too much. You're asking the right thing from the wrong people. And that changes today. Promise yourself that from today moving forward, you're going to do things differently. If this resonated with you, please consider leaving a comment, liking, subscribing to the channel, and telling us in the comments what you're unlearning about love. This is a safe space for everyone because here we are to help each other grow and become the best version of ourselves. I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Bye.